10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, and happy Monday. How is everybody today? I hope that you are ready to listen to this show. This is our motivational show. This is an inspirational show because I'm going to introduce you as soon as they come backstage. I'm going to introduce you to somebody very special. Have you ever been in a situation where life is great, everything is going as planned, and all of a sudden there's some adversity or some emergency or something, an obstacle that happens to you and you don't know what to do next? Well, today I have a special guest who's going to come here and tell us all about how she overcame those adversities. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way. I'm all the way.
All right. Well, I hope that music got you all pumped up and ready. And as some of you start joining in, let's talk a little bit about just life in general, right? Where you are today may not mean where you're going to end up tomorrow. It doesn't mean that. So what you do on a daily basis just prepares you for whatever design of life you have in front of you. So cheers for that. I hope that you got something to cheer with. I got some water because it's extremely cold, hence my hairstyle. It's extremely hot. So anyways, just one second. So yes, so what we are going to talk today, so I have a very special guest. Her name is ARA MATA. She is somebody who has gone through so much adversity. I cannot wait for you to meet her. She's a survivor, not only just a survivor. I mean, she's an extreme, somebody that I will call an extreme survivor. And what I have to tell you is that everybody faces adversity. Adversity is not something that is strange to people, right? And when you overcome adversity, whether it's a low-level adversity or a high-level adversity, it doesn't matter. When you overcome it, just the next phase just looks a lot easier in your life. Does that make sense? So certain things that we do in a daily basis and, that give us this adversity does not make you give up for the rest, should not be making you give up for the rest of the story of your life. So without further ado, I believe that she is backstage. They're telling me right now she's backstage. So we're going to bring her on the screen in 1 second because I know we can't see her and we can't look at her, but there was delay on timing. So I apologize to all of our guests, but I'm glad that you're on. I'm glad that you're watching because I want to introduce you to this special lady. I can't wait to hear all of her story, but let's not wait any longer. If she gives me a thumbs up that they're ready. All right, so we're going to bring her back or up to the studio. Hang on 1 second. Let me see her name. And I'm going to have her. There she is. How are you? Welcome to the show, ARA.
I'm good. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Technical difficulties.
No problem. I'm glad you're here. We're just logging in. So we just started the show. So people are joining in. But right now, my guests would love to know who you are. Who is this beautiful human being that's on the screen?
Hi, my name is Ara Mata. Nice to meet you guys. And I am from Dallas, Texas. And I don't know what you want to know, but I'm a survivor of many things.
All right. A survivor of many things. So today's topic, Era, and you're co-hosting this with me, obviously, we want to give a message of hope. We want to give a message of inspiration that doesn't matter what you're going through in life. There's always going to be that next opportunity to make it better. So what kind of adversity, what are you a survivor of, and what kind of adversity did you overcome?
So I have overcome 2 open heart surgeries in 2008. And then I had 2 major spine surgeries and a neck surgery where they put rods and screws all up and down my spine. Domestic violence survivor. I was kidnapped and raped survivor and molestation survivor as a kid. So I am not a victim. I'm a victor, and I am a survivor and a warrior to spread word that you can heal, you can overcome if you choose to take those steps forward to heal.
Absolutely. You're 100% sure. And it's an honor to have you on the show today, because that's exactly what the message is all about. If somebody in our audience is going through just, oh my Lord, like I can't even imagine going through so much of what you went through. When did your adversity, when did life start facing you with all of this? How old were you?
I was molested very young as a child by a step parent and several uncles, family members, and overcoming that was my first challenge. And then when I was 24, I was followed out of a bar in Arizona and grabbed and kidnapped and raped for almost 24 hours until I got away. So
Wow.
that was when I decided to go on my healing journey of how to heal, how to get help, so that I didn't have to live constantly in the past of reminders and triggers. And then that all came ahead when I had a son, and I did everything I could to make sure that my son didn't go through those exact same things. And then as a over controlling parent, it happened to our son. It was awful. So it was, all those triggers came up again, and we had to fight the system to bring justice for him and the other children that were involved. And so it brought it up again. And then I decided, when those triggers came up, dealing with him, going through counseling with him, that I decided I was no longer going to be a victim, and I was no longer be triggered, because I needed to help save my son and anybody else going through this. So that was my first step in life, where I decided, I can either live triggered every day, I can live a victim, I can constantly make excuses for my behaviors and my non-trust issues, or I can deal with them and put them behind me. And that's what I try to do with people every day that I counsel, that I help, that I motivate, is try to let them know that you can heal. Those are scars to remind you that the enemy didn't take you out, that you can heal. And that's a reminder to use it to help somebody else, to show them, this is how I got through it, this is how I healed, and this is how you can overcome.
Wow. What a story. What a story. It must be, I can't even imagine, the first adversity that you faced, right?
Right.
Being raped as a child by multiple family members.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there is so many children, unfortunately, going through that right now.
Right.
And there are so many parents that are not paying attention to that. They're not monitoring that.
Right.
But I cannot imagine the second one with your son, because one thing is it's happening to you.
Right.
Another thing is happening to your child. I'm a single parent myself, and I could not imagine if that ever happened. I think I don't know. I don't know what my reaction would be, but it wouldn't be as good as yours for
Oh,
sure.
it wasn't at first. Like I said, we had to fight the system. And the man got 32 years in prison, and we had to fight because the system didn't want to stand up for my child. They wanted to brush it under, and it was awful. So I wasn't always this calm about it. Like I said, it was huge triggers for my life. It was a huge setback for me to watch my son to have to go through it, and it was awful. Knowing that we did everything that we could to try to prevent it, to try to make sure I never, ever wanted any of my children to go through it. And it was just absolutely devastating. And the signs weren't there until the day the FBI called us. I mean, you know, people ask me all the time, well, didn't you know? How do we know? What are some things that we can look for? And until you're in that situation, when you're heightened, your senses are heightened, you have to give people warning signs and things to look for, you know, because you don't. It's scary.
Right. And what happened later? So you overcame that adversity, you put the man in jail. Okay,
Yes.
so apparently some type of justice was served.
Yes.
But what happens later? Why did you go through all these surgeries? What happened to you?
Okay, well, I was born with a congenital heart defect, and I was sick. Heart disease is the #1 killer in women over any other disease, and I was sick for 4 months. In 2008, I kept passing out. My doctors kept saying, nothing's wrong. It's all in your head. It's anxiety. Well, I knew something was wrong, but they kept telling me there wasn't until I changed doctors and got an opinion. And they said, you have 2 major holes in your heart. So I had to have 2 open heart surgeries.
Wow.
Back to back. And so that, you know, took me into my next chapter of my life, fighting and getting heart disease awareness out there for women. That was a big thing for me, trying to educate women. Well, I never had, you know, I don't have family history. So I'm always telling women, you don't have to have family history to get an EKG to go get checked. It's painless. So get checked. And then I had a congenital back disease where my disc turned to Swiss cheese and they collapsed. So the bones in my neck had collapsed first. And then my lower back, I had a drag leg, I had a cane. This was all within the last 4 years. I've had 3 surgeries in 4 years. So I've had rods and screws put in my neck and rods and screws in my back. And then that 360 back surgery I had almost 3 years ago, it's been 2.5 years, failed. And I had to have it redone 7 months ago. So I'm still healing from that. I'm still overcoming.
You are a miracle, my friend. You are a miracle.
God's got me.
And you know what? I couldn't have had a better guest on today's inspiration show.
Well, thank
you. Because this is what it's all about. You know, there's people everywhere, life, business, anywhere, that complain so much about life.
Right.
And, you know, they found a flat tire in their car, and then they make everybody else's life miserable right after. What do you tell a person like that? What has life taught you that you can actually inspire others to just pay attention to that?
Well, and that's part of I counsel, I'm a life coach. So I tell people it's okay to get that flat tire. It's okay to hit those speed bumps in life. Cry about it. Deal with that emotion. Get that emotion out. Understand that that is something that you have to go through to get to where you're going. We all go through storms, but that is what is strengthening us. That is what is teaching us what is coming in life and how to prepare better for the adversities, because life will kick you. Life will pull you backwards. Life will pull you down, and that's okay. So understand that emotion, go through that emotion, but don't stop in that emotion. You have to keep going and realize that there is something you're being taught through that storm so that you can give somebody else. I tell every single person I come in contact with, you are going through something because You are going to be used for somebody that you sit across one day who says, you can't imagine what I've been through. You don't understand the pain. And you're going to be able to look at those people or that person and say, I do know what you're going through. I have been there. I went through this, and this is how I got through it. So let me help you get through it. That's why we go through hard times. That's why we walk an awful path sometimes, so that we can use our testimony and we can use what we've been through to help somebody else, to carry somebody else, to strengthen somebody else, to build somebody else's faith and help them, because life is hard. So that's what I try to tell people is accept it, move on. It's okay. Cry it out, scream it out, and get it out. But don't stay there. You're not a victim. You're not a victim.
Wow. What a beautiful and strong message. And I hope that our viewers are really paying attention to this message, because it goes beyond words. You know, there's so much meaning to that. So tell me a little bit about how your life today, aside from your last 4 years of surgery, how is your life? Have you like designed a life of your own? What's been going on lately that you know it was worth everything that you've been through?
I have designed a life of my own. I have been through the ups and downs, ins and outs, black and white of depression, oppression, victim mentality, everything. And I have learned through my surgeries and through my adversities and through the hardest times of depression that it is real. And this is exactly what I was supposed to go through. So like I said, I can help somebody else, because before I went through these surgeries, before I went through true depression, and I never had anxiety. I've never had an anxiety attack until I went through these major surgeries. I never understood. I couldn't empathize with people that I counseled, or when I go and speak, I couldn't. People would come to me and say, how do you get through this? And I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, just pray through it or think through it. But now I have built a life with my experiences that I can help, that I can, train somebody to rethink and refocus their mind and their walk. And that's what I'm proud of. Is the most important thing is helping people, men, women, and teenagers that are going through this, that you can not be a victim for the rest of your life. You can not be triggered for the rest of your life. You can overcome, and you can use what you've been through to help somebody else. You can. And that's why
Absolutely.
we go through it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we are just vehicles, correct?
Right.
Things have happened to people like you and I.
Right.
Exactly. So we can be prepared to help others, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I understand that language so well, more than you know.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. I want to
Thank
tell
you.
you, I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of you, because it takes a special character. It takes a special chosen one to be able to overcome that and say, you know what? I am not a victim.
Right.
I am not a victim at all. And I refuse to become a victim.
Right.
And so, that message needs to be strongly delivered to our audience. Some of them are watching now, some of them will watch later.
Right.
But the fact that we go in life and life faces us. So I always have one thing right in my house. I don't know about you, but in my home, anybody who steps foot in my home has to wear one item, and one item is required, or the doors are shut.
Oh no.
Would you like to know what that item is?
Yes, because I do the same thing. I have a saying too. Go ahead.
A great attitude.
Yes.
There's no negativity that comes in this house. If you
Right.
got a great attitude, you are welcome in my house.
Right.
If you don't, then you need to go back where you came from, go shake it off, wash it off, do whatever you want, and then attempt
Yes.
reentry.
Yes.
So the
Absolutely.
reason why is because I always say life is an adversity, period.
Yes.
life will face us and will challenge us and will give us difficulty just because that is what life is. Life is the beast that
Yes.
we're fighting.
Yes.
So we either become friends with that beast and know how to manage that beast, or
Yes.
we become the major victims, right?
Exactly.
So anybody that comes to my house and has a bad attitude, I always tell them, all right, you want to go and do a reentry?
Turn around.
Yes. It's funny because my own kids go, oh my Lord, my mom.
Yes.
But it is what it is. And that's
Right.
because we design a life that your home has to be your sanctuary.
Right. Your
This
peace.
is exactly your peace. And this is why I wanted to bring this to light. You spoke about child abuse, domestic violence. There's a lot of homes that aren't that peace.
Yes.
So how does one gear up your home? How do you or I design our homes to be a sanctuary and a place of peace? What can we tell our audience, Era?
So your home theoretically should be your peace, but it's also your home and your sanctuary where you can let out your emotion, that it's okay to scream in your pillow. It's okay to go in your closet like I do. And I tell people, if you're going to scream and have a breakdown, go to your closet and let that be your sanctuary. Scream, yell. If you have to say cuss words, get in your closet and just scream at your clothes and let it out, because your home is your safety. Your home is your box that protects you from the world. And it's also your place to find your peace, where you block out those four walls, block out the enemy, block out the attacks, block out the hurricane. And you say, I declare that this is my peace, that everything that comes into this home either helps me, heals me, or brings me peace. And if it can't, then you have to know those boundaries, and you have to have people respect those boundaries, because so many times the enemy tries to throw those hurricanes into your four walls in your peaceful place. And you, like you said, your positive attitude. And it's hard. There's days that storm is going to come through that front door, and that's okay. But you have to recognize it, and you have to see it, and you have to learn to stop it, so that you have a place of peace, a place that you feel safe, the place that you feel secure, that your children know that they can come in here and have breakdowns, and they can come in here and find the peace away from the world, away from the bullies, away from the school, away from what they're going to. And that's what you have to do. And I love that you said that my home, it has to have a good attitude. We're not always going to have a good attitude. We're going to have stinking thinking sometimes, and that's okay. And we have to let our kids and let our husbands and let our wives know that it's okay to come in here with a bad attitude, but I'm the one that's going to help you change it. And when I can't help you change it, then you're going to have to learn how to help me change my stinking thinking, because this is our safe place. This is our peace. And if we don't have that in our home, then the rest of our lives, our workplace, our friends, our
They
school,
suffer.
are going to suffer. And people have to realize that. I tell people real quick, I have so many of them over here. I'm going to grab them. I keep these everywhere, all different colors. These are dry erase markers, and we write on the mirrors. We write on things in our house, the windows, the mirrors. Have a great day. Smile, anything, so that when you're having a bad day, you can walk by it, or you look goofy today. Something that triggers that thought to reprocess itself. In the mornings, my husband and I write messages all the time, and it's our thing, our kids. And you just have to figure out how to retrain, because the world is a negative, awful place. And like you said, we just have to train our home.
Your sound went out for a moment.
Arm went off to tell me that.
There, you're good.
I'm with you.
You're good.
Are you there? Did I lose you?
For a minute, but you're good now.
So those are just thinking things that we do.
Yeah. So Frank, one of our viewers, says attitude is everything. Half the problem or half the solution, depending on which attitude you have. And that is such a right statement, right? That's a sentence that I live by.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I can hear you. I hear you.
I can't hear you.
Text.
I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
So let's get her sound back on track. Hang on a second.
I don't know if your mic is turned off, but I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh no.
Read your messages. Read your messages.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Oh no, I can't hear you.
Hang on.
I can't hear you. Do you want me to leave and come back?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So as she goes and comes back, I hope that you all can hear me. If you can hear me, just please send me a little comment. I hear you both, says Frank. Frank, thank you so much. Yes, we can hear her. So it was probably her audio that went out. So hopefully she can leave the studio and come back, and we'll be back on track. But this is phenomenal, guys. I mean, I cannot emphasize, the stories that are out there of, people that we don't know what they've been through. And a lot of times, she was talking about that stinking attitude, right? Like, and one thing she said, it just blew me away, and I'm going to start practicing it. I'm going to bring her back. I think she's backstage. Hopefully she can hear us. Yes. All right.
I don't
Awesome.
know what happened. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Sometimes that happens, and but we were able to hear you the whole time, so that's great. But I was just telling the audience, and then of course we have the audience saying, "Yes, we can hear you both. We can hear you both." So, but one of the things you said is when people come into your house and you are the one with the stinking attitude, then they kind of help you, right? Put you on check to fix that. That was awesome. I love that. I'm going to start doing that because I usually tell people, hey, I pay the bills. This is my house, whatever the attitude is.
Yes.
You guys have to put up with it, but I don't have to put up with your attitude.
Right.
But, you said, you also mentioned something that I want to go back to. There's two things that you said. How does a person that inside their home is where the adversity is, whether it happened to you when you were molested, whether your significant other may be having a terrible attitude and you're being domestically, right, verbally abused or whatever. How does a person, what can you tell our audience? How does a person deal with it when it's inside their home?
Well, the first and foremost thing that they need to do is they need to recognize what's going on. You need to get to a place, and it sounds easy, but again, we try to get you to a black and white place, that you love yourself, that you stop complaining about what you tolerate. I want you to all write that down. Stop complaining about what you tolerate. And that simply means if you are getting verbally abused, if you are getting disrespected, if you are constant in chaos and your moods are up and down, you have to do something that changes that, because without a simple change, then nothing will change. You know that saying, change something. If you want something to change, you have to change something. It is the most black and white statement that you need to live. If you want something to change, you have to change it. And it's not always easy, because we get in these relationships where sometimes women can't get out and men can't get out. But you have to, the most important thing is communication. And this is what I tell people when I counsel them. Your biggest key for any of this is go to that person and say, I feel hurt when you talk to me this way. I am scared when you act this way. It upsets me when this is going on. The key is communication, because maybe that person doesn't understand their words. Maybe that person doesn't even realize the way they're talking to you because they are in such a hurricane in their season, or they are going through something that you don't understand, that you are their person. So they're lashing out and doing everything they can to take that hurt off of them and put it on you because they think you can handle it. And you're like, whoa, why are you coming at me like that? So many times, that's why I tell people,
Wow.
Communication. First step is identifying the problem. And then you're going to get that out for both of you. And if it doesn't start to change, then you have got to make the changes. I tell everybody, your actions should lead any words of change. Any words of change. Start changing something. And then they're going to say, what is different about you? Why are you not reacting the way you were? Why are you not doing this? And they're going to see the change in you. And that brings real solid change, your actions.
I love that advice that you just gave, because it is 100% true. When somebody loves themselves and when somebody takes care of themselves, a lot of changes start happening in your life to the positive. So obviously, you know, I'm an advocate for that. And, you know, it's a beautiful message. Well, it was lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I am your fan. I will follow you forever now.
Thank you.
Tell us, where can people find you?
On Instagram, it's just Survivor Era.
Okay, I'm going to put it on there. Is that correct?
Yes, just all one word, Survivor Era. TikTok, I've got a big fan base, Survivor_Era. Or you can just look up Survivor Era, and that's me, ARA MATA. Facebook is, you can look me up, ARA MATA. So
please, you guys, follow her, support her. You know, she didn't have this, you know, growing up. She faced so much adversity. Now, you know, collectively, we make a better world by supporting each other. And if you know somebody that's going through what she went through, please make sure you give them her contact.
Right. I'm here to help.
One last message you would like to tell the audience before closing.
My biggest message is live in peace, not in pieces. We go through life and our pieces of ourself, our heart, our self-esteem, our everything, our self-love, our self-respect fall apart with the pieces that break in us. You've got to get to a place that you live in peace, not in pieces. And that's where you'll find that you are no longer a victim. You're a victor. You're the head. You're not the tail. And that's where your true healing is going to come from.
Wow. I love that. Live in peace, not in pieces. So thank you so much for being our guest today. We love you. And we respect you. And we will be seeing you again, because mi casa is su casa. So thank you so much. And we will be seeing you soon.
You too, friend.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next Monday.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way. I'm all the